The Dallas Mavericks fall in excruciating fashion to the Sacramento Kings. What's wrong with this team?
Nick, we do this podcast for around 30 minutes. I think we could honestly go a whole 30-minute YouTube video on what's wrong with the Mavs.
We'll do that and more on today's Locked On Mavericks podcast right now.
It's the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Hey, Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good!
And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and coordinator for the Locked On Podcast Network. And joining me, as always, my co-host, contributor at Mavs.com, the loser lord, the one more thing king. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Breathe in, breathe out, count to 10. Count
Good
down from
night.
10.
Oh,
I think we're nearing the lowest point of the season, mainly because, I think besides, obviously during the stretch in which all the guys were out, with COVID and stuff, but, those two Jazz losses in Utah, that was coming off of COVID. And we had a reason. I don't even want to say an excuse on that because that was a legit reason. Like we know these guys coming back, altitude, they're coming back from COVID. And, the Warriors game was bad at home. Oubre goes off night. But at this moment, there's no excuse. Like zero. None for how Dallas is playing right now. The energy thing. The energy kind of reminds me of the Utah stuff. But once again, we had a reason for those Utah games. Right now, I don't know what's the reason.
On today's show, Isaac and I will break down a little bit, I guess. Mostly talk about big picture stuff with the Mavericks. The Mavericks 107-121 drudging against the Sacramento Kings. We'll talk about that. What's wrong with the Mavericks? We'll talk about all that. Today's episode is brought to you by RockAuto.com. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. Visit RockAuto.com and tell them that Locked On sent you. All right, Isaac, let's get into this game. So the game briefly, I guess, and then we'll talk some more big picture. I want to start with this. A lot of people are talking about what's wrong with the Mavs. We're going to talk about what's wrong with the Mavs. De'Aaron Fox is amazing. 30 points, 12 assists. He was 12 of 21 from the field, 57%. He only took 2 threes and he missed both of them. Only hit, 6 of his 7 free throws. Or I guess he only took 7 free throws is my point in saying that. And so it's not like he was going to the line. He was hitting jumpers and he was hitting shots and he was getting to the rim and he was going off. Plus 23 for De'Aaron Fox in this game. Absolutely great game from him. 2 steals as well. He was great, man. Like, we were pretty high on him before the draft, and he's just been really great. I hope that he finds what he's looking for in life, right? Like, I you know what I mean? I hope he finds a good team somewhere because this guy is definitely an incredible basketball player.
It'd been crazy to see him and Luka together.
That was possible. That's like out there. That's a butterfly effect that's somewhere in the universe, in the multiverse.
Shout out to Matt George, host of Locked On Kings, who did the whole rap on it was okay for them to take Bagley over Luka. Bagley had a great game tonight.
The parody was called "Don't Need Luka." That was what the parody was called. So yeah, he has since retracted that, obviously, and since this team has become his own personal hell again since then. But anyway,
Fox was incredible tonight. That where Fox has improved is, his ability to stop and pull up at, those elbow shots, those mid-range shots. That's what, the good players do, especially in the fourth quarter. They were giving him the ball, and he made a couple bad decisions there towards the end of the game. But for the most part, that was his thing. And,
he didn't have any turnovers, though.
Yeah. No, I mean, shocking, for a point guard and stuff. So, Dallas made Rick made the decision of this is the whole decision right now to close games, Brunson or Jay Rich. And, you could go with Josh Richardson in that scenario to guard De'Aaron Fox. What, we've heard from the moment that they got, Jay Rich in that trade with Seth Curry is, hey, we finally got our point guard defender. But Jalen Brunson's been playing so well and you need his offense because his offense is so much better than Jay Rich's offense that they're electing to go with Brunson. And and personally, I don't blame them. Like, I'm not sitting here saying that was a bad decision, but this is just where you're at right now, that you're going to give up some of the defense. And that's the next step for Brunson that we've been talking about on this podcast. Like, hey, what's the next step for him to be a legitimate starter, top 5 guy on the team, on a really good team? It's his defense. And he just couldn't stay with Fox. And Dorian's 6'6", 6'7". He's, Fox is just too fast for Dorian tonight.
I thought there was a stretch though in that third quarter where I saw Jay Rich defend Fox and do a good job at it. And maybe Fox just went on a cold streak there, but I thought he did a decent job there. And we just didn't see Jay Rich on Fox that often. I think we saw Luka guard him more than we saw Josh Richardson, which has been so weird. And credit to, Kirk and the Mavs Moneyball guys. They've been asking this question all year. Why isn't Josh Richardson guarding the best guards or the best, perimeter players on the other team? It just hasn't happened. We talk about it like it's a given, that's why Josh Richardson was brought here, but he's not necessarily doing that any given night. This is another example of that.
Yeah, especially some of the bigger wings, they'll go with Dorian, they'll go with Maxey.
That makes more sense, but a guy like De'Aaron Fox, 6'3", right? Like, this game doesn't make any sense for Jay Rich not to be thrown on him the whole game and have him figure it out, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I think, for the majority of the game, I would hear that the end of the game, them going with Brunson over him and Jay Rich just not on the floor.
Yeah, that's a different conversation.
Yeah. I don't mind that decision, but yeah, Fox was just too good at the end. I think Harrison Barnes played a great game, hitting 5 threes in this game.
How about 2 revenge games in a row for Julius Randle against the Mavs, his hometown team, and then Harrison Barnes with kind of a revenge game? I guess a little bit. I mean, he hit 5 of 8 threes, but he only scored 24 points, so it wasn't like he was completely going off there. But it felt like every shot he took was going in, and it felt like those are open shots too. It's not like he was hitting contested shots either. The other guy, Terrence Davis, 5 of 5 from 3. I mean, that's kind of an outlier, like, role player game where you don't really expect that.
They got him for free at the deadline, by the way.
Yeah, crazy.
When Toronto was,
So yeah,
you think Brunson was playing a little bit inspired basketball tonight? If you guys remember, Tim McMahon reported, after the draft a few months ago that Dallas, tried to get up in the draft to get Halliburton, and that they were dangling Jalen Brunson in that. And I just wonder that, Brunson, it seemed like Brunson had a little bit more pep in his step tonight. He had 20. I thought he played a good game offensively and stuff too. So I wonder if Brunson knows that and he took it to heart tonight. And
it's not like Halliburton showed him up or anything. I mean, did he even score in this game? No, right? He scored 3 points in this game. He was a minus 23 in a game they almost won by 20.
Yeah, and all 3 of those points were free throws.
Yeah, so Jalen Brunson, incredible night for him. Let's do quickly a couple of the positives for the Mavericks. There wasn't many, and then we'll just blast this team the rest of the podcast, I think. Luka, the second half. I mean, I talked about after the Knicks game, there are just certain games where teams will try and take away Luka's passing and try and shut him down that way, and just you can't take away his scoring, really. And this was one of those games. The Knicks game was the opposite. They let him pass. He had 19 assists, but he only had 18 points. This one, 37 points for Luka, only 4 assists. He was 14 of 27 from the field, missed 5 free throws, which is rough, and then missed, 9 3-pointers, which was rough as well. But he still had an efficient game. Like, he was 4 of 13 from 3 and 14 of 27 from the field. Like, that's still decently efficient from 2-point range. And so in the second half, he really just turned it on, and his scoring was absolutely incredible. Second half, 11 of 6. This second half is a great game for most players. 28 points, 11 of 16 from the floor, 4 of 9 from 3, 2 of 4 from the free throw line. But still, that was the second half only.
Yeah, let me take a moment real quick, but before we go to break, maybe break will be a good way to end what I'm going to say.
3 blocks for Luka in that second half too, by the way. He was their best defender in the second half.
Oh, yeah. Can we, I kind of want to dub the Luka block, the standing block. I feel like he's getting them multiple times now where he just stands there and blocks a shot. But now here's the thing. If Mavs fans want to get frustrated with this team, that's one thing. You want to get frustrated with Rick Carlisle and his decisions, that's another thing. Front office, all of that. I get all of valid things. But if you want to go after Luka Doncic, I don't understand you. And there are people tonight that, I tweet out a few things, and I was like, hey, I had time after the game. I was waiting on, these guys to talk on Zoom. So I was just replying to some people on Twitter because my whole thing is like, all right, after 12 minutes of play for him, it was like around halftime. People are like, man, freaking out about Luka. And it's like, Luka looks slow. I literally had tweets in my mention. He's not a top 30 player. He doesn't look like that tonight. He looks like, he hit his rookie wall. Like, what the crap are we doing? If you look at this Mavericks team and you think Luka Doncic is the problem, then what sport are we watching? Like that's not like, come on, like pick anything else out there that you want. And then Luka goes out and he has 22 points or how many ever he finished, he had that in the fourth quarter. It's like, guys, I don't care what, come on. We can do better of what we want to go at, but I promise you, Luka Doncic is not the problem.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb and speak for all Mavericks fans when I say that's probably a very small percentage of people out there.
Yeah.
And it's definitely maybe even a straw man argument. But coming up, let's get into this team, talk about what went wrong because there sure was a lot. We'll break it all down coming up. But before we do, Indeed.com. It's the job site that makes it easy to hire. There's so many ways that you can find jobs right now. Indeed has the place that makes it easy as 1, 2, 3. Post, screen, and interview all on Indeed. Get your quality short list of candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description faster. Only pay for the candidates that meet must-have qualifications that you put up, all that kind of stuff. You can do video interviews right in your Indeed dashboard. Makes it connecting and hiring the right talent easy and fast with the tools that Indeed Instant Match has. That almost sounds like a matchmaking, like Match.com site, but Indeed is kind of like that for jobs, giving you quality candidates whose resume on Indeed fits your job description immediately. An Indeed skills test that on average reduces hiring time by 27%. Imagine what you can do with 27% more time, or is it 27% less of the time that you're wasting on hiring? You can choose from more than 130 skills tests or add your own, all that. Go to, according to Talent Nest, Indeed delivers 4 times more hires than all other job sites combined. 4 times better than the player under it. What is this? The 2018 draft? If you're hiring, you need Indeed. Get started right now and get a free $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/lockedon. Get a $75 credit at Indeed.com/locked. And then again, that is Indeed.com/locked. Offer valid through June 30th. Terms and conditions apply. Also want to tell you about Built Bar. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar we've ever had. It's a protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. They really do. We've talked about the chocolate ones. The chocolate is absolutely delicious, but they also have these white chocolate ones as well. If you want to go ahead and check out some of those. Right now, Built Bar has some incredible bars. The raspberry is always a go-to. The mint brownie is always absolutely delicious. They have a couple of white chocolate ones. If you check the website back every once in a while, use that promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your next order with Built Bar. You can use that code as many times as you want. LOCKED15 is the promo code, BuiltBar.com. All right, Isaac Harris, let's get into this team. We talked about some of the positives, but a couple more. Dorian Finney-Smith, man, he was the best player for the Mavericks for most of this game. I mean, absolutely incredible night from him. 6 of 8 from 3. I almost wanted to say during the game, man, this Mavericks team is wasting a good Dorian Finney-Smith game because we talked about against the Jazz, they leave him open. And so if he hits threes, this Mavericks team, the ceiling is absolutely incredibly high for this team. But he hit threes in this game, and the ceiling was the floor, right? The ceiling was not the roof in this game. 22 points for him, only 4 rebounds, an assist, a block, but just shooting threes and hitting threes. Absolutely incredible from Dorian.
Yeah, I'll ride or die with Dorian. I absolutely love Dodo. His energy. I mean, he was a part of the, that third quarter unit, with KP and Luka off the floor. He was out there. Him and Dwight Powell. I mean, they're the 2 guys on the team who, every single time that they're on the court, they're going to give you everything that they have. And it stands out. You see them flying on the court. I mean, more impressive. I just don't understand how Dorian can play 35 minutes and it never seems like he gets tired. This dude has endless amount of energy. And
well, I could tell you. On offense, all he does is stand in the corner and wait for shots to go up and then goes for them.
Yeah, but the dude goes all out 100%. I mean, and then he goes for offensive rebound and flies over people. And I love this for Dorian hitting 6 threes tonight. I thought it was big for him. And yeah, you can't hang this loss on Dorian tonight either.
No, you can't. We also briefly mentioned Jalen Brunson, but he got back on track in this game. 8 of 10 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, and he had 20 points, 4 assists for him in this one. Had 3 turnovers that were pretty rough. We've mentioned Jalen Brunson's turnovers in the past, but still got back scoring. Those 3 guys accounted for The majority of the Mavericks points, 79 of the Mavericks 107 points came from Luka, Dorian, and Jalen Brunson. They were 30 of 48 from the field, 62.5%. The rest of the team, and this is where we'll transition into the SHIT storm that was the rest of this team, 28 points, 9 of 39 from the field, 23% from the floor for the rest of the Dallas Mavericks. That includes Porzingis, Maxey, Josh Richardson, Tim Hardaway even, Willie Cauley-Stein, JJ Redick, Dwight Powell played a little bit, and all that.
Dwight Powell played 16 minutes. I think he goes in the positive. I thought his energy was massive.
100% true. The reason why they were in this game, I thought, was they needed a burst of energy, and Dwight Powell brought that. And he just brought a little bit of a boost for him, a little bit of a boost of energy. His stats are not like incredible, right? He played 16 minutes, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, and 0 points. But still, I thought his energy was really crucial for this Mavericks team. And so he got some time in crunch time, which maybe that was an overreaction to what he brought in the third quarter, but he got it.
And I mean, at that point, I think you're just trying anything. And I thought Dwight earned his minutes.
Yeah, but is that the thing you try, right? Like,
I mean, the third quarter looked like a whole different Mavericks team whenever they made that run without KP and Luka on the floor. So, yeah, I mean, maybe he ran it a little bit too long, with Dwight and KP on the floor together. But, I mean, I also am not looking at this game either and saying, hey, you know what? I think we lost to the Kings because Dwight played 4 extra minutes than what he's supposed to.
Well, they got it down to it was a clutch game, right? Like didn't they get it down to 5? Or I guess they didn't get it. It was 6.
But
it was 6 a couple of times. They got it down to 6 a couple of times, and Dwight was out there, and he played 10 minutes in the fourth quarter, right? Like that's where, to me, it was, all right, let's try something. Let's do something different. Let's try something.
I guess you could have put Josh in and put Josh on Fox.
Maxey played 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. He didn't foul out, right?
Maxey? No.
Yeah, no, I didn't miss that, right? He played 2 minutes in the fourth quarter, and Dwight played. So Dwight took minutes away from Maxey. I would say that is not a winning formula, but that is just my assessment as a person with the podcast.
Yeah, you could have moved Dorian to the 4 in that scenario, and then Luka at point with Brunson and J Rich, and put J Rich on Fox at the end of the game with KP at the 5. But
the negatives. I'm going to start with Porzingis. I'm gonna start right there with him. In the second half, Kristaps Porzingis had 4 shots, which some of it is not his fault. Some of it is. He missed all 4 of those shots. 3 of them were threes. He only had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, no blocks, no steals.
Played the most minutes tonight.
No counting stats in the second half. Yeah, he played 18 minutes in that second half, almost 19. And this has been brewing for a little while here. Kristaps Porzingis is not playing above average defense. We talked about his defense a lot at the beginning of the season. It got a little bit better, got to be passable, right? For this Mavericks team, where it wasn't like he was completely like losing games for them on defense like he was at the beginning of the season. So it got to a certain point, but he's not playing incredible defense. He's not an incredible rebounder. He's a decent rebounder. He's not an incredible passer playmaker. Like, he's not even that great of a spot shooter at the moment. And so it's like, all right, what are you bringing to this Mavericks team? Your one thing is to score and to score the basketball, right? To shoot, to score. That's why you were the unicorn. We got to have some games every once in a while where he takes over and has 39, like 35, right? If scoring is going to be your thing. And of all the times that we've heard Porzingis talk about getting his shots and all that and figuring out what's best for him and trying to make it work for him, I understand that the guards aren't making it easier for Porzingis, but if you're a max player and you want to be that number one, which we know he wants to be. He wants to be that number one guy. He wants to be in the spotlight, the superstar. He talks so glowingly about the way that it was with the Knicks in New York and playing in Madison Square Garden, and talks about the fans and how they, support him and all that stuff. And
his favorite fan moment was when they chanted MVP for him.
Yes, 100%. All that stuff, which I don't blame him for doing, right? He was that guy. He was the savior for the Knicks and all that. But if you're going to bring that kind of mentality, then it has to show on the court. We got to see some production now. There's no more like, you're not healthy, where he's coming back from injury. There's no more of that, right? He's got to show every once in a while he can be that insane scorer to take it to a next level, because he just hasn't so far. And in this game, this was another prime game. The Knicks game and then this game were 2 prime games for him to take over in some fashion. Even a quarter. Take over a quarter and score 12 points in a quarter or something like that, right? And it just didn't happen.
Yeah, yeah, I'm kind of torn. I think it's twofold for KP's tonight. KP's bad game. I think it's kind of half on him, but I think it's a little half on the team too of getting him involved. I know he had 14 shot attempts tonight, and I know that's second on the team, behind Luka. But I do think he has to make a choice at times of be the stretch five that you just stretch the floor and take an open shot if it comes to you, because we have a generational talent in Luka Doncic, and that's just part of it. Like that's just part of the offense. It's part of this team. So when the fourth quarter is happening and he's not getting some shots, it's because Luka had 22 points in the fourth quarter and he hit like every other shot that he took, and Luka's shot making was just insane. So I almost don't blame it at the end of the game. It's where we need KP is in that second quarter. I think they lost the second quarter 35-20. I could be wrong on that.
No, it was 45-30.
Okay, so they still got outscored by 15 points.
You're thinking about the fourth quarter. Yeah, the second quarter, Kings scored 45 points.
Yeah. So they got outscored by 15 points in that quarter, and so can Dallas do a better job at focusing the offense around KP and getting KP going? Which I get. He missed 11 shots tonight. So, and a big thing about this is they got away with playing Mo Harkless on him. And
it's again happened.
Yeah, and this is a frustrating thing as a Mavs fan, and in anything, it's like when you have a 7-3 guy, and we've talked about this whole thing all season long about how these teams will put smaller guys on them and dare the big, to guard Dorian or Maxey, whoever it is, and when a team can get away with playing Mo Harkless against KP, then that's a problem because that takes away your mismatch kind of.
Before we move on, I want to show Porzingis' shot chart here if you're watching on YouTube. And by the way, subscribe to our YouTube channel. 2,000 of you have subscribed to our YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much. Made it there in just 2 weeks' time. Got to 2,000. So look at KP's shot chart in this game, right? Like all of his makes except for 1-3 were at the rim. Like he's supposed to be really good at the mid-range, and he had a smaller guy on him and all that kind of stuff. He's only either taking these threes where these are their like pick and pop type shots or stuff right at the rim. Like, yeah. I don't know, man. It's sometimes we, put down Porzingis, or not put down, but criticize him to the point where we back it into a corner. Oh, don't take mid-range shot. Don't post up. Oh, take threes. Don't take threes. Like sometimes we can't decide. It depends on any given night, but I need him to get going a little bit more and to do something else, especially when Luka's off the floor.
No media session for KP tonight either. So if you're looking for KP comments about this game, because he has been very animated after losses or wins, whoever, because that's who he is, and we love that part of his personality, but that's the reason we have no KP quote.
Coming up, let's get into some more stuff about this game. Lots more things to break down in this game. What went wrong? What's going on with the Mavericks long-term, right? This last 10 days or so have been absolutely terrible, save Luka's final shot against the Grizzlies. So let's break that down a little bit. But BetOnline, it's the fastest and easiest way to get all your sports action. Lots of stuff on BetOnline that you can put down some money on. BetOnline has some good stuff. They have NBA games. They have college games. They have, I don't know if they have like spring football stuff. That'd be kind of nuts if they had that kind of stuff. But let's look at some BetOnline options right now. BetOnline for tomorrow, for the 19th, on Monday, if you're listening to this on Monday. Bucks, 2.5 point favorite over the Suns. Whoo, that game is going to be really good. I'm excited about that one. And I don't know if I would have the Bucks favored in that one, even though they're a home team. Spurs, 1 point favorite over the Pacers. Not super interested in that game, but Suns Bucks, you can bet on that on betonline.ag. Use that promo code LOCKDOWN, get a 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Go check out our friends Locked On Today and Locked On NBA Draft. Great stuff. Locked On Today has all the sports news you need in 20 minutes or less, and Locked On NBA Draft has all the draft coverage you need. Either podcast you can get on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the new Odyssey app. Go subscribe and follow wherever you get your podcasts. All right, Isaac Harris, any more specific things from this game you want to get into? We talked about Porzingis. We've broken that down a little bit. He's got to take over some games a little bit and take over some quarters for me. That was kind of my big point, is that he stands in the corner during crunch time. We've talked about that and broken down why Carlisle kind of wants him to do that. And spacing the floor, great. That's great for the Mavericks. That's positive. But every once in a while, he's got to call his own shot, get the ball, do something positive for the Mavericks. And it hasn't been happening recently.
I think one of my things is I like to offer some type of solution or like what I would do different if I'm going to like sit here and criticize. I think what I would have done different is, heck, if I get down by 20, I think I would at least just throw JJ Redick out there and say, shoot it 15, 16 times. I would just be running them off some screens. Like I get that defensive rating is, I mean, JJ played 4 minutes, and what was our defensive rating tonight? I mean, it could not
like
have
126.
So at this point, like, let's just get him running off some screens. I mean, we just talked about it on this podcast a few days ago. It's like, hey, at what point could we see JJ Redick starting instead of Josh Richardson? And I just want more minutes for him, especially when you get down by 20.
In the first half, the defensive rating was 146, which is not good. Yeah.
Incredible.
So at that point, they finished with 123 defensive rating. So it got way better in the second half. Yeah, that's why. So outside of Porzingis, there's a lot of things that went wrong for this. It's not just on him, right? I'm not trying to say that Porzingis is the reason why they lost this game. If Porzingis got to a certain level and was able to get his own shot and play it at a certain level at the end of the games, then and Luka didn't give him a lot of chances at the end of this game. To be fair to Porzingis as well, Luka was playing really well and Luka was going for a shot. And he forced some stuff at the end there, but throughout the rest of this game, that's where he's got to prove that he can be, a viable option for Luka. I think that's how Luka sees the game. All right, you're not a viable option. You are a viable option during this game and all that. You're shooting well. You're not. I think that's just the way he sees it. I'm not saying that's the way that it is, but I don't understand playing Porzingis almost, like he's playing him 37.5 minutes. Dorian Finney-Smith, 35 minutes. Luka, almost 36 minutes when Luka seems tired and gassed. Brunson, 30 minutes. Like, they're playing a really short rotation here. The only other player that played significant minutes besides Brunson and the 5 starters was Dwight Powell, who played 17 minutes. And then you have Willie, who played one shift, 5 minutes. JJ Redick played one shift, 4 minutes. Nicola Melli went out there after Maxey got another foul and just played 1 minute. Like, could like JJ Redick and Melli could have played in this game, right? Some of this stuff, this team looks gassed, and let's get into that real quick. Like, Luka in that first half looked absolutely just drained, gassed, all the words that you want to say. All
Luka's
his shots
battling a knee right now too, by the way.
All his shots were short. Yeah, and he's been wearing some kind of brace or thing on his knee that Dr. Brian Sutterer mentioned on his Twitter the other night. And so go check out that. I don't want to misrepresent what he said, but this team looks really gassed, really tired. The schedule is shortened. The schedule is condensed. Everyone else is dealing with that, though. There's no one else that's dealing with that kind of, everyone else is dealing with that kind of an issue. And I'm interested as to why the rotation is so short. They need to win games, sure, but this team, they need some extra something, and they need somebody to come in and spell them for a little bit longer than like one shift per game in what Willie and JJ Redick gave them.
Yeah, I mean, it might speak on how they feel about the rest of the roster too. It's like if they're gassed and losing, and they still don't want to play, some of these other guys. But
which goes to a bigger thing. Sorry, I'm going to cut in here.
No.
Goes to a bigger thing that something I want to say.
Sadiq Bey stat line.
I poo-pooed all the 15th, 16th man on the roster doesn't matter this season and all that kind of stuff. If that's what it depends on, if the difference between, blah, 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 if that matters, then all of a sudden this team has bigger problems than that. This season has been so different. And I think the same reason why Mark Cuban regrets the play-in and regrets this shortened season, I regret saying that the end of the roster doesn't matter, because now all of a sudden this Mavericks team
I don't regret it at all, because
right, fine.
Whoever's going to be there, they're not going to play.
Fine, I do then, because some of the I regret then criticizing them for some of the end of the I guess they've just gotten bad luck with all these guys, right? Trey Burke, unplayable most times. Willie Cauley-Stein, really rough at times, not playable. They traded Wes Iwundu. He was not playable. James Johnson at times was rough at times. Josh Green, apparently not playable. We can
criticize that. I'm down for criticizing that, because that is a storyline for sure. And I get that. But the 15th roster spot, I don't care about that, because whoever's we could go across the league at 15th roster spots and be like, all right, how many people are playing right now? And they wouldn't play on this team.
And here's my other thing about this is it's also the Mavericks are also not playing their players and their rotation a significant amount of minutes more than anyone else that's a viable team in the rest of the league. I went through every single team that's in the playoffs, basically all the teams that matter, right? So the Mavericks, they have Luka playing 35 minutes a night, which is not like that crazy amount of minutes. It's a lot of minutes for sure. And we've talked about his conditioning. I talked about it after the Knicks game and all that. They have 4 players averaging 30 minutes or more a game. They have 7 players, their top 7, averaging 25 minutes or more a game. The Blazers have 4 players averaging 30 minutes a game and 6 players averaging 25 minutes a game, right? Like the Grizzlies, 1 player averaging 30 minutes a game and then 6 players averaging 25 minutes a game. The Clippers have 2 players averaging 30 minutes a game, 4 players averaging 25 minutes a game. You starting to see a trend here. Like a couple, like there's a decent amount of players, 5 to 7 at least, averaging 25 minutes a game. It's just not. The Mavericks are not playing these guys way more minutes than they should. The Lakers have 5 guys averaging 25 minutes a game. The Jazz have 4 guys averaging 30 minutes a game and 7 averaging 25 minutes, the exact same as the Dallas Mavericks. The Suns have 4 players playing 30 minutes a game and 5 players playing 25 plus minutes a game. Like these numbers are very similar to what the Mavericks are doing right now. The Sixers, 3 players playing 30 minutes a game, 6 players playing 24 minutes a game or more. The Bucks, 3 players playing 30 minutes a game, 5 players playing 27 minutes a game or more. Like that's all very congruent to what the Mavericks are doing. Again, the Mavericks have 4 players playing 35 or 30 minutes a game or more, 7 players playing 25 minutes a game or more. It's not like all these guys are playing 35 minutes. They're all gassed and playing way more than everyone else. They're on the same page as everyone else as far as minutes distribution and their schedule.
And you can't scream for rest and then throw a fit when they do rest. Or
when they look gassed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that I don't think that the rotation is necessary. I was ready to come in here and be like, oh, this rotation, playing these guys this amount of minutes. And the Mavericks don't play that fast of a pace either. It's not like they're playing really hard minutes in those minutes either. And so I was ready to come in and condemn the rotation and say it's all on Rick Carlisle for this rotation. He's been playing 7 guys too many minutes. It's not too many minutes. And it's not different in the February, starting February 1st till now either. It's not that much different. It's the same guys playing the same amount of minutes, and it's not that many. It's not like they're playing an outlier number of minutes compared to anyone else in the league.
Well, now they have to figure their stuff out because, we have a couple more games against the Kings coming up in the near future. We're obviously still watching the standings. We'll probably talk about standing stuff tomorrow.
I'm done talking standings. This team's got to win some games first.
No, I actually want to talk about it.
Know, but I did the whole the Hornets beat the Blazers on Sunday. Oh, watch that out. Oh, the Blazers lost 5 of their last 7, the same as the Mavericks. So we can start watching some of that stuff, but this team needs to start winning some games and win some winnable games before I'm starting to can they get to 6? Can they get to 6?
Dallas wants to get to 6.
They might not. Hey, this is a big thing. The Jazz all of a sudden have a hobbled Donovan Mitchell. Maybe he's out for the first round. Maybe he comes back and is not 100% the first round. If they drop to 2 and the Suns are in a normal season on a 60-win pace, think about that. We don't talk nearly enough about that team to be there. If the Suns moved to first and the Jazz moved to second, the Mavs playing the Jazz with a hobbled Donovan Mitchell is probably ideal for this team in the first round.
Yeah, and it looks like the Clippers are locked into the 3rd seed. I mean, at least, because the Nuggets probably aren't going to catch them. They're 2 behind the Clippers. Lakers are not going to catch the Clippers. No. So if you get up to 6, then you're locked into playing the Clippers in the first round. And I don't care what the records are for Phoenix and Utah. I think the Clippers are a better team than those 2 teams. So when it comes to the playoffs. So it's not the end of the world if Dallas makes it play-in. You're playing with fire because, everything about play-in, I hate to play in. But if you do land at 7, you're looking at Utah or Phoenix, and you might prefer those guys over the Clippers.
Absolutely. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. There's some more stuff we got to break down. Maybe we'll look at the standings. Maybe Isaac will talk me into it by then. Pistons game on Wednesday, must win. As much of a must win as it can be with a month to go in the season.
Dennis Smith Jr.
Hopefully coming back. He hasn't played recently, but then those 2 Lakers games the rest of this week. So guys, stick with us. We'll be back. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.